full of friends, and let me just get up because you cannot see my full head. My last video was me talking about books that I went to read and what I've been doing. Literally wearing the same outfit, but whatever. I was going to put my talk about the diviners in that video, but I was like, nope, I want to talk about this completely separate. But yeah. Okay, The Diviners by Libba Bray, and I think I talked about this probably quite a few times, but she did sign this book for me, and I got to meet her, and she is literally so stinking awesome. So first off and foremost, spoilers, because I will be talking about the plot and the characters. So I listened to the audiobook. I finished it the other day, and I'm on the second book, Hilarious Dreams, and I'm actually almost done with it. So I really love this book, and I can't believe it took me forever to read it. But this book follows a cast of characters who are diviners, who have these supernatural abilities. And the first book follows mostly Evie O'Neill, who's from Ohio, and her parents, there was an incident and her parents sent her to New York to stay with her Uncle Will. And there's this handsome man there named Jericho who I really like, and a bunch of other characters that she gets to know, and most of these characters don't even really interact with each other at the same time. And when I first started listening to it, I'm like, when are these characters gonna meet? And I think the majority of them do meet, but they don't spend that much time together. But first off, before I talk about the plot, I want to talk about the characters. I think my favorite character is Memphis. No, wait, okay. I'm going to backtrack. I want to talk about the diversity in this book, because there is a lot of diversity in this book, and a lot of research was done for this book. When I finished the audio, they had the author's notes, and she was just talking about all the research that she did for the diviners, and I applaud her for all the research that she did, because this book is really diverse, and I was really surprised of how diverse it was. Memphis is a African-American living in Harlem, and I think his dad is from America. I don't know exactly where he's from, but I know he left to go stay in Chicago, and he's living with his Aunt Octavia and his little brother Isaiah, who is a diviner also, and he can see the future, I believe. Yeah, he can see the future. And then his mom, who died, was from the Caribbean. And Memphis is a diviner himself, and he has the healing abilities, which is totally completely awesome. When his mom was dying, he tried to heal her because his dad made him, and so he lost his abilities after that. But Memphis is one of my favorite characters, and I really like the research that was done for his character, and it really shows, like I said before, the diversity in this book is so completely awesome. Like, she did a lot of research for this book, because it does talk about racial issues, which goes into what I'm going to say next. My second favorite character is Theta Knight, and I really like her character so much. I love Theta, and Memphis meets Theta at a nightclub that he went to. I think he knows the owner of the nightclub, so he was there, and they meet by chance, and then like the police storm it, and so they have to run out of there. But that's how he meets Theta, and they end up dating an interracial couple, which is really cool. But it also showed the racial issues with that, because people are not okay with a black man dating a white woman. So you get my drift. I like how that was thrown in there. And there was this one part that I was like waiting for. I was like, ooh, I wonder if she's gonna actually talk about it. And of course it was like his black friends being like, oh, what are you doing with this white girl? Like, he takes her on a date, and I don't even know if I'm talking about I hope I'm not talking about the second book. No, it is in the first book. But yeah, his friend, I think Gabriel, sad face, he was like, you're gonna get in a lot of trouble by dating this white girl. So I was waiting for that. I was waiting for one of his black friends to be like, you should not be with this white girl, because If she blows the whistle, guess who's gonna go to jail? You. Guess who's gonna get killed? You. So I'm glad that they put that racial issue in there, because yes, Theta is awesome and I love Memphis too, and they do truly both like each other, but I'm so glad that she put the racial issue in there, because it's like, yeah, this is not gonna end well. This is not just a happy story. This black man cannot date this white woman. If they do it, they have to do it secretly, because there is no way that this is going to end well. And I'm scared for Memphis. I'm like, Memphis, stay strong. But yeah, I think I'm done talking about Memphis, because I think I went on a large rant about him, but he is my favorite character, first favorite character. Theta is my second. My third is Henry Dubois the fourth. I love Henry. And Henry is actually gay, and I love that, which that dives more into his story in the second book, because we don't really see much of Henry in the first book. It's mostly like Evie and her story, and her friend Mabel, and Sam, who I'll get to in a sec. It's mostly them, but yeah, I love Henry. And then after that, I think it's Sam, and then I think it's Evie, then Mabel, then Jericho. I wonder if I'm missing anybody. And then Isaiah, because I really like Memphis' little brother, Isaiah. But yeah, he's last. I do like Evie. I know she's the main character, but she's not my favorite character. I really do like her, but she's definitely not my favorite character. I think everyone else kind of trumps her for now. But yeah. But enough talking about characters. The story. So far, I was like trying to figure out the story. The story is definitely bigger than I thought I was, and all my theories about it went out the window, because I was like, okay, so there's this ghost named Naughty John, and he's come back from the dead, and he is sacrificing all these people so he can come back, and I believe there's 11 sacrifices total. And unfortunately, Memphis's best friend Gabriel dies, and I think he was like the 9th sacrifice, the herald of the angel, and I should have put 2 and 2 together, because his name's Gabriel and Gabriel's the name of an angel, but I didn't. And so I cried when he died, and I cried when Memphis found out that he died. And it was cool, because there was this cool part where Isaiah, his little brother, tried to warn Gabriel. He's like, don't go under the bridge, don't go under the bridge. And Memphis is like, shut up, Isaiah. I'm like, just let him, tell him don't go under the bridge. He would have never died. He even thought about that when he went under the bridge. I was like, Gabriel. And he just got hired at this cool club. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why you gotta kill a black man? But yeah, a lot of other people died too. But so they're trying, okay, so Evie, Jericho, which Jericho is a ward that Evie's uncle is taking care of, and you find out towards the end of the book that he is half man, half machine, and I don't know how much of a machine he is, but he is half man, half machine, and I'm like, what parts of you are a machine? I will not. I won't know. But I'm just joking. But technically he is a diviner, but I don't think he thinks he's a diviner, or he's just like an experiment. And throughout the book I was like, who are these diviners? Evie's definitely a diviner. So her power is if she touches an object, she can see visions of the object. So that worked well in the case that she was helping her uncle with. So they basically figured out that Naughty John, the Pentacle Killer, is a ghost trying to come back from the dead, and they're trying to stop him. That's basically the whole plot, and he's making all these sacrifices like throughout the book, and then throughout the book you get to know each character. It goes back and forth. There's not like chapters, like chapter 1, 2, 3, it's just different names, but you go from like Henry, you go from Theta, you go from, usually if it was, yeah, Henry, Theta, Evie, Sam, which, oh, I need to talk about Sam. Sam. I believe he's half Russian, half Jewish, and he's a diviner himself. And I remember I was trying to put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, what is his ability? And he can turn himself invisible. Like, I think he has to say, don't see me, and they won't see him, because he's a pickpocketer. And when he first meets Theta, like right when she gets to New York, he gives her this big old kiss, and he steals $20, which she will not stop talking about even in the second book. You stole my $20, and I'm like, get over it. Like, y'all were fair and squared in the first book. So, but yeah, she keeps on talking about that. It's hilarious, but whatever. I love Sam. Sam Floyd. Forgot what his Russian name is, but I believe he's half Russian, half Jewish, because I think his dad's Jewish and his mom's Russian. I can't remember. Yeah, either way, he's half. I love Sam. Sam's such a funny character. He is so funny. At first, I didn't really like Jericho because I was like, he's bland. I don't see the appeal about him. But then I got to know him more, and I was like, oh, I do love him. Tall, blonde, handsome. I hate it. And then Mabel. I really like Mabel. Mabel has like these really conservative parents, and Mabel has a crush on, of course, Jericho. And then Evie starts having feelings for Jericho, and then Jericho has feelings for Evie, but he doesn't like Mabel. Yada yada. But crazy stuff. I'm not gonna even go into their whole little romance. My favorite romance is Memphis and Theta, but I just hope Memphis is staying safe and knowing what to do, because like this white girl might get him in trouble. We don't know. Just saying the truth. But yeah, so that's basically the plot, is that Naughty John is trying to come back from the dead, and he's trying to sacrifice all these 11 sacrifices, and the 11th sacrifice ended up being Evie O'Neill, and I was so proud of her because she locked the ghost in something independent that her brother gave her and him, because her uncle was arrested because Naughty John tried to frame, it was somebody tried to frame him for the murders, yada yada. But there's some this is just like the first step. This isn't like everything, because there is more to it. You thought Naughty John was like the bad guy, and I was like, oh, is he like the bad guy of all 3 books? Like, there's 4 books total. No, he's not. There is another bad guy, the gray man with the tall hat. I don't know who. Oh, the king. Spoilers, but the King of Crows. Like, they say the King of Crows throughout the first book. Like, they talked about the King of Crows, and the last book is called King of Crows, which isn't a spoiler because that book's already out. Also, spoiler for the second book for just a sec. I'm just saying that they found this painting in the second book with the gray man with the tall hat, and they said that there was a slave with crows trying to pick at him, and I'm like, these crows are going after the slave, and there's like other people too, but I'm just saying that Memphis keeps on seeing a crow, and I'm like, this is a sign. Throughout the first book and the second book, he keeps on seeing a crow, and I'm like, you need to be safe, Memphis. Like, oh my god, I love Memphis so much, but he needs to be safe, because I feel like the crow, him seeing this crow, has more to do. Like, this, there's more to it, if that makes sense. There's definitely more to this crow, and I'm freaking out because this crow keeps on following Memphis, and they saw that in the picture. Jericho and Sam saw that in the picture, that these crows were after this black man, and I was like, no, Memphis better live, because I'm going to scream if he doesn't. He's like my favorite character. I can't. But yeah, I just think that this crow, the King of Crows, I don't know who he is. I don't know if he's like this big baddie. I don't know if he's a demon. But Naughty John was just step 1. Naughty John was just a pawn. Like, there is a greater evil, and I'm like, this is like tripping me out. Like, it is literally tripping me out. I'm like, what could happen? There are 3 more books, and I'm almost done with the second book. What the heck is going on? And these books, I don't say they drag out, but there's a lot of character development in these books. You get to know all these characters. You follow each character. That's why I'm saying there's a lot of... This book is a long book, and there's a lot of dialogue more than action, but you get to learn about these characters. Also in the book, not just these characters, but whenever there is a sacrifice, you see it from that person's point of view, whoever is being sacrificed or killed. Like, it's really sad, but you see it from their point of view, so there is a lot of historical stuff. But it's so... it's so good, but I would advise that if you are going to read this book, yeah, read it, of course, but I also advised that you should also listen to the audiobook because the narrator who does the audiobook is amazing. Like, she is, I think it's just one chick doing it. She does these New Yorker accents, like she does these Southern accents, she does these black accents, and I'm like, who is she? Because she does these accents so well for like everybody. She can do Uncle Will's accent, or like an older man's accent, but when she did the black accents, I was like, she good. She real good. And she go from New York and accent, like from Theta's voice. I'm like, who is she? Okay, I gotta find her name. Okay, I gotta find her name. Oh my god, what is her name? I'm so sorry. Her name is, oh my gosh, it doesn't even like singing. January Lavoie. She is so good. But I think, I'm not sure how long this review / discussion is, but yeah, I kind of like went into a lot of it, so sorry, but I really wanted to talk about this book. I think I talked about Memphis more than any of the other characters, but I absolutely, wait, is this taping? Hello? So that is taping. Okay, whatever. I just had to make sure. Wait, hold on. Okay, it was taping. I was like, oh, is this even taping? What the heck? But I just really wanted to talk about this book, and I'm almost done with the second book. I have to wait for the third book, kind of listening to an audiobook for 2 weeks, and then the other one said 10 weeks. And I'm like, okay, I should have just borrowed them right away. I gotta wait. Maybe I'll just read the book. But I absolutely, positively, as freaking Theta said, not Theta, they all say it, but like Evie says all these words like positively, and oh, it's just Jake. Like, Libby Brain did so much research into how they talk back then, because some of the stuff they say, I'm like, that is so silly, but it's also really cute. The Diviners by Libby Bray, 5 stars, of course. Great book, so great. I think it just it has such a great diverse cast. Like, they're so diverse, and I love them. And she did a lot of research, and I'm really, really proud of how much research she did and put in this book. And I really do appreciate the diversity in this book. It really makes me happy to see the diversity. Even in the second book, there's more. There is a Chinese / Irish, I think she's half Chinese, half Irish character, and it shows some of her friends who are Chinese and her living in Chinatown in the second book. So there is a Chinese character in the book, and it shows her culture, and it shows how she lives, and it does talk about the racial issues of Chinese Americans coming over here and how it's hard and how they're treated. And this book does literally show how African Americans are treated, how Jews are treated, how the Irish are treated. It really dives into how these people are treated back in 1927. She really did her history for this. This isn't just like, oh, everybody lives in peace, yada yada. No, she goes into a lot of racial issues in this, especially the gay characters too. And I do appreciate that, and I admire that a lot, to see the diversity in this book and seeing the supernatural powers and these diverse cast and characters. It makes me really happy, and I'm so glad that I finally read it. And like I said, for the 100th time, I'm so glad that she's on my book too. It makes me really happy to meet her, and like I said, when I talked to her, she was so cool and down to earth, and it makes me really happy. But yeah, everyone should read The Diviners. And if you don't want to read it, listen to the audiobook, because it is amazing. Like, it is so good. And if you like romance, if you like fantasy, and if you do like a big grasp of diverse characters, please, and racial issues, this is a great book to read, because it does dive into that, and it does not glorify anything. You should read it. But yeah, I just really wanted to write and discuss this, because this book is so good, and it's probably going to be one of my favorite books. Like, The Great and Terrible Beauty was one of my favorite books in middle school. Definitely one of my favorite book series, most definitely. But yeah, I'm so glad I made this just a separate review for this. But yeah, I am so glad I read this. My cat, he is like laying on the bed with me, so he's gonna say bye friends. Bye. But yeah, everyone, please stay safe, take care of your mental health, and yeah, bye friends.